Last week in a column in the New York Times, David Brooks said, quote, "I'd observed that as the government becomes more transparent, the less people are inclined to trust it." I actually think he has it backwards. I think that as the less people trust government, the more of transparency they'll demand. But I think the statement actually gets to one edge of this double-edged sword that is transparency. On the one hand, you have a situation where when people know what the government is spending money on, the waste, fraud, and abuse, they're appalled, and they'll call for change. On the other half of that, though, the more that people understand how government money is being spent, where their tax dollars are going, they'll see all the stuff that the government does, and will trust that the government does do the right thing, and they protect the public through consumer goods protection, they protect workers, they protect the environment. So I think there's a balance here, but right in the middle of that is before we can actually understand what's going on is we need to have high quality data being produced. And I think that's going to be my first criticism of Recovery Act transparency is that we're just not getting high quality data. Anything less than high quality data, and the public will assume that the government is lying to them. And I think we see that already with the job count figures that we've seen with the Recovery Act. Between critics of the act and the media that kind of gives a he said, she said story to the jobs numbers, we have a befuddled public and they don't know. And in fact, there was a recent poll conducted earlier this month in which was found out that only 6% of Americans think that the Recovery Act has created jobs. I was absolutely flabbergasted by that because every day I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, that the Council of Economic Advisors has estimated that somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million jobs has been produced. In a big number on the recovery.gov website, it says right now 595,000 jobs were created last quarter. So there's obviously some disconnect, and I think part of that owes to data quality issues. But I also think at the same time it's important to not overlook the fact that we are having this discussion in the first place. So I want to be clear here that we can carp about the data quality because there are data being collected. And I think that's really a big thing about where we are right now is that we are seeing this, and that we'll get into talking about some of these mechanisms and the better ways to kind of do this. But that's the fact remains is we actually have these data to talk about. I think that's great. Having said that, though, let me get back to the carping. There's, as Chris mentioned, it's really hard to see in one place all the money that's been spent. And in fact, there's not one way to say spent money. Funds can be allocated, they can be appropriated, they can be obligated, they can be outlaid. And these are all different stages of spending, and I think having that all laid out into a single website, much like what ProPublica is attempting to do, it should be done. And actually, I think the government, the Obama administration, should be doing this, and this is another area where they're falling flat. And lastly, I think that in terms of just having the data, it is good, and it needs to be arranged better. There is a certain set of data that are just not being collected right now. And Judith mentioned this, that we don't know, for instance, socioeconomic status, we don't know job quality, we don't know race factors, we don't know a whole host of information about the people that are receiving benefits from the Recovery Act. And so I think what really needs to be added into the Act to give us a clue as to how the Act is performing, how we can evaluate it, are these performance measures. So in addition to the social equity stuff that I just mentioned, performance measures such as how many schools have heat this winter, how many homes have been weatherized, how many lane miles have been paved, how many bridges have been repaired. And I think all that bringing together would give us a much better idea of the Recovery Act and would lend a lot to transparency. Otherwise, I think we're left with just this one metric of jobs created, and as we've seen, that measure has been severely undercut, and what we end up with then is diminished and eroded political support for the act and even diminished political support for any future spending. So with that, I'm just going to leave it at, I think we're in a good place going forward, and I think there's definitely room for criticism. But what we need to be looking forward to is the mechanisms and the spirit behind the Recovery Act transparency should be applied to all of federal spending. And that's what we should be looking forward to moving forward.